ninth in the series of videos on techniques for developing a workload tracker for physicians. In previous videos, we've created two tables, TBL data, TBL list. We've created two queries, one for descriptive search, and most recently, we created a query called QRY list based on the TBL list. We have four forms. FRM main, I'll bring that up. And across the top, I've filled in some of the names for the tabs here. You can do the same for your specialty. Now, the next step in the sequence to develop a workload tracker is to introduce in this area, I'll scroll down, scroll up, is a way to visually identify what is being added into the database. If you click a button, a line item will be generated, and that will be a very nice visual way to keep track of things as you add them into the database. And to do that, there's a number of different ways. One way, you can even have what's called a split form. If you look at the Create button here, under Forms, there's more forms. You can have a split form. That's one way to do it. Another way would be to drag in a query and just put the query directly on the form. That's possible. It has its advantages, but probably the best way to do it is to go to the design view. And let me do one other piece of business. If you click here, this will highlight the tab Control 10. You can grab the width by blacking it and then copying it, and now puts that number on the clipboard, and we'll use that in a minute. So here you're in design view. If you go back to your query and right click with that highlighted and drag it down to the palette area below here, you can see it shows up as an overlapping index card. I think that must mean there's a query that's going to pop up, and we let go. Yes, there's the query, subform wizard. And it is taking that query and turning it into a form, which is just what we want it to do. So you can rename it as a form, FRM by convention, and it's a subform, and to shorten it up a little bit, you can just call it SF. And if you notice, you have four forms already over here. When you click finished, it's going to create a fifth form, FRM list SF. And here it is below. It always makes a label, and first order of business, you can delete the label, and you can highlight this, and when it turns to kind of a star, you can left click and drag and line it up. And 0.25, the table is also at left 0.25, so that edge and that edge are the same. When this form is now highlighted, and as you remember, I grabbed the width of the top form, and we can make this width, right click and paste. And if I click off of that, this should move exactly to that spot. Okay, there it is. So now the top and the bottom are the same. Let's save that and look at it in form view. And it's all kind of splayed out, so you can double click on the headers and it will resize them pretty quickly. And if you save it immediately, it will remember these sizes. But if you change any of the captions, and we'll do that in a minute, you need to resize it again. Okay, so one of the other features about, if we go to the layout view, and there's your property sheet, One of the other features about having a subform on this form is that you can do a lot to manipulate the data. And if you click on top of the field there and then right click, let me do this, let me scroll down so we can put it on the field. If you right click, you can hide and unhide your fields. So let's hide the ID field. You really don't need to see that. And you can change the captions in your, this is what's called a datasheet view for the form. And you can change your captions. Go to Other. You can see Datasheet Captions, and we'll just call it Date. And we'll work down the line here. We'll call this CPT. We'll call this, instead of DES add, we'll call it Description. Okay, and then we actually can double size that again. This one, we'll call it Work RVU. Good. And now DOW we know is day of week, but we can just call it day here. Still, the field is still DOW, but we'll give it a different caption. Dollar can be dollar. Okay, and the other things you can do while you're working on them, you can go back to Format, and here's your date add. You can change that to a center alignment. Might look better. CPT, the same thing. By default, because it's a general description, you can make it left workload credit, we'll make it center. Day of week, we can make it left. Dollar, line up the dollar signs, might be better if it's left. Okay, now here you have your record selector at the bottom. And to make changes with that, we'll close that and go directly to the FRM. And here's your data sheet view. And so you can go down here to record selection and make that a no. Navigation button, make that a no. Right click, save changes and close it. And then go back to FRM main. And if you'll notice, it's taken away. All right. One other thing that's a nice feature about having a form, you can go back to your layout view, and this is a nice opportunity to show you about conditional formatting. If you go to Format tab at the top, and this is highlighted on the DOW and caption says day here, you can click on conditional formatting and it brings up a wizard. So kind of a wizard. But you can create a new rule, and the format only cells where the field value is. Okay, that's not what I want. What I want when the expression is. And you can have this little ellipsis. Click on it, it'll bring up something you see all the time, your expression builder, and DOW, IntelliSense is working, and you can return DOW equals Saturday. Okay, and save that. And then you can do a lot of things. You can make it bold, italicize it, underline it, change the color. All right, let's just change the color. Say OK. Let's do even another rule. Same thing. When the expression is, click the ellipsis, brings up the expression builder, DOW equals, let's say, Sunday. All right, and say OK, and change the color to that same color. So, and we'll click OK, apply changes, click OK. So you have two things. You have two rules at play, and you could actually put in as many rules as you want and expressions you want, because This is a form, and you can do conditional formatting, which you cannot do on a query. So it's one of the other reasons to have a form here instead of a query. Apply, say OK. And so now for Saturday and Sunday, we'll have a different color. So if you're looking at things and you could easily see whether it's Saturday, you could have Saturday one color and Sunday a different color for that matter. And we're all 7 days of the week could be a different color. Okay, we'll save and go to Form View. And just by way of increasing real estate, you can do Control F1, and that will Control F1 will put it back. You can see you can take off your little ribbon or little area at the top. So that's about all I wanted to show in this video. We've created a new form. It's actually a subform which we placed on our main form, which will reflect changes in the query, which is also then based on changes in the TBL list. So we add things, click a button, it'll add things to the list, which will add things to the query, which will add things to the subform, and it almost acts instantaneously. Okay, well, thank you very much for your attention, and if you would subscribe to my channel, leave comments if you'd like, and I'll see you in the next video.